Hey there Star Wars fans, and welcome back to Astromech Productions, a Star Wars and LEGO Star Wars YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be doing my review of Star Wars Light of the Jedi. This will contain some spoilers, but they won't be until later on, and I'll signpost them very clearly. The video is going to be split into three parts. The first will be my non-spoiler thoughts and feelings. The next will be a brief synopsis of the first few chapters for those who haven't read it but think they might want to. And finally, I'll be doing my full spoiler thoughts and feelings. The timestamps for this are all in the description. Let's get straight into it. Okay guys, so as I said, we're going to start with my initial non-spoiler thoughts and feelings. And those are that I very much like the book. So obviously, as we know, we're launching, this is the first book in the High Republic, which is this brand new era of Star Wars set about 200 years before the events of The Phantom Menace. This book actually takes place in 232 BBY, so before the Battle of Yavin. And I think this is a brilliant start to the new era. The characters are engaging, it has a very interesting plot line, and I love the way that it shows a very different aspect of the Jedi and the Republic that we haven't seen before, which makes it very interesting, and it really shows the changes between that Jedi Order and the Jedi Order of the time of the Phantom Menace and the prequel era. And it also has a surprisingly compelling kind of villain. Going into this, when I'd heard of the Nile, these space pirates, I thought they were going to kind of suck, they're space pirates, what can you really do with them? But I actually found them very, very interesting, very compelling, and I love the way that the story kind of chopped and changed between lots of different perspectives and showed us new stuff within the galaxy and plans that we hadn't seen before. And I would 100% recommend this book to absolutely everybody. If you're sort of anywhere somewhat devoted Star Wars fan, you absolutely have to read it. It is a must read, not only because it begins this new era of Star Wars and this new stuff where we'll hopefully be getting more things and it provides more context for the prequels, but also because it is a very, very good book and a very good read and really enjoyable. Obviously, it's available on audiobook for those that don't particularly like reading or don't have the time to read it. But yeah, I would 100% recommend it. I'd say it's a must read. It's not my favourite ever Star Wars book. At the moment, that title has to go to Star Wars Bloodline. If you haven't read that, go and read it. It's a phenomenal book. But this is probably my second or third favourite Star Wars book of all time. So that was my kind of non-spoiler thoughts and feelings. We're now going to move into a synopsis of the first kind of couple of chapters. This obviously will contain spoilers. So if you haven't seen the book and don't want to know anything else, then sign out of the video now. Thanks for watching. For those of you that have read the book and just want to get to the rest of the review, there are timestamps down in the description. So this bit is just for people who think they might want to read it and are okay with the first few chapters being told to them to get them into it. So Star Wars Light of the Jedi begins in hyperspace on the Legacy Run, a cargo ship for the Burn Guild. The story starts in the bridge, which is manned by Captain Hedda Cassett, an ex-officer from the Malastair Sullust Joint Task Force. As the vessel travels through hyperspace, Captain Cassett walks around the ship, checking each system personally, and everything is in perfect order. We also meet some of the 9,000 passengers that the ship is transporting to the Outer Rim. In particular, we are introduced to Serge, a small boy about the age of 10. After seeing that all is well, Captain Cassett returns to the bridge. Mere moments after she enters, an alarm goes off. Something is in their hyperspace lane, which should be impossible, and they are heading right for it, with about 10 seconds until impact. Captain Cassett attempts to steer the Legacy Run out of danger. However, it is a very old ship that was not designed for maneuvering, and Hedda can feel it coming apart. The bridge explodes, and Hedda Cassett and her crew on there all die, not knowing if they have saved anybody. We then switch to a scanning station in the Hetzal system in the Outer Rim, manned by Scantech 3rd Class Mervyn Getter and his boss Scantech 2nd Class Val Karen. Their job is to monitor traffic coming in and out of the system, make sure everything runs on time and smoothly. Everything is acting as normal when suddenly an object moving incredibly fast shoots into the system. There are no ships scheduled for this time, so this piques Scantech 3rd Class, Mervyn Getter's interest. Then a whole load more of these mysterious objects suddenly start appearing, and they're on a sunward trajectory, many of them in line to hit orbital stations, moons, and the planets. The orbital stations would be instantly vaporized on impact. The moons would be able to take a few hits, but would be destroyed, and the planets may be able to survive as rocky bodies, but everyone living on them would be killed. Mervyn and Vale's scanning station is in the target zone, and they realise that if they want to survive, they have to get off it. However, first they take the time to issue a system-wide alarm, potentially saving billions of lives. But before they can make it to their shuttle, the station is destroyed, and then with it. Down on the surface of Hetzal, in the office of Minister Ecker, they are in complete disarray. The minister has sent a message to the citizens of Hetzal, telling them to evacuate, but many don't take him seriously, and even though for those who do, there are not enough ships to take them all. It looks like this could be a disaster that results in the death of billions, even with the advanced warning. A distress signal has been sent out, though no one has yet appeared. However, when all hope seems lost, Admiral Kronara and the Republic Defense Coalition and Jedi Master Avar Kriss and the Jedi Order arrive on the 3rd horizon to rescue the Hetzal system. So that's a brief synopsis of the first kind of couple of chapters. I'm now going to move on to my full spoiler thoughts, feelings. So if you haven't read the book and don't want to spoil it, now is the time to sign out of the video. Thanks for watching, but this is full spoilers. So as I said, I absolutely loved it. I thought, the way each Jedi was described to see the Force in a different way. So Avar Kriss's music, Elzar Mann as the sea, what's it called? Bel Zettifar as fire, Loden Greatstorm as wind. I thought that was so cool. I loved, just the visuals of it, and this, I think one of the things I loved it really is the structure of the Nile. I thought the Nile was so cool, and with Macaron Row and the paths, and I really like the inclusion of the Santeca clan, because obviously we saw Lord Santeca in The Force Awakens, and he was pretty cool. But yeah, so I really love the inclusion of that kind of group of people. Lena So was pretty cool, and I liked her Tiger Targans, I think they were called. It was just such a good book, and obviously we got to see the inclusion of classic characters like Yao Poof, Yoda as a Grandmaster at this point, which is pretty cool, and Oppo Rancisis, who's always seemed awesome to me. It was a really kind of compelling story. I obviously my favourite character I think has got to be Porter Engle. That dude is an absolute legend. I love him so much. I think that the amount of creativity that went into this, with all the new ships and stuff, was so cool. And you had all the different plot lines, with Boyaga and Avar and Bell, and all those different things were really, really awesome. I do some creative writing myself, and when I do that, one of my favourite things to do is kill off characters. But as a reader of this bit, it did get a bit, I wouldn't say frustrating, but it was like, every time you got attached to a character, Charles Soule would just kill him off. You got attached to Hedda Cassett, she died. You got attached to Mervyn Getter, he died. You got attached to Tammy, she died. You got attached to Joe O'Malley, she died. There's just a lot of death, which worked for the story. I think it was just kind of, oh no, another person's died. That kind of sucks. Yeah, it was. I loved the approach to lightsabers in this. That was really cool. It was a really, really cool book, I thought. Yeah, I don't think cool is the perfect word for it. If I had to describe it in 2 words, it would be cool and mysterious. It had that kind of vibe to it, which was really, really effective, and it was just a lot of fun. There was a lot of stuff we haven't seen before, and a lot of stuff that I hope we see again. And I can't wait for The Rising Storm, which is the exact sequel to this, coming out, I believe, in kind of June, July sort of time, which should be a lot of fun. And yeah, let me know what you guys think of the High Republic down in the comments. As I say, really, really enjoyed it. What was your favourite bit? Have you read it yet? Do you think, if you haven't and you just got the whole thing spoiled, do you think you then are now going to go and listen to it. Thanks for listening, guys. Like if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe and turn your post notification bells on. May the force